Down in the Dugout, powered by Scout Scoops.
So I mean, and this year is going to be, no different with, you know, the potential of recreating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guys that were removed from prior, versions. So that's going to be tough. But I'm looking forward to it. I love doing it. So like Scott said, it's like Christmas morning or something. So
It is. It's Christmas morning. It's honestly, it's one of the best days of the year. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Don't play it down. It is.
Scott will tell you too, man. What was it? MLB 18, man. I didn't play the game at all.
Chase didn't play it all. He was doing rosters all goddamn year.
All I did was edit the rosters all year, man.
Dude, just play a damn game.
Yeah.
Play a game.
They've since made it a little bit easier, but in MLB 18, I was the first one, man. I didn't play a single game at all, man. I spent the entire year just editing, man, because it was so bad, and the amount of time that it takes just to edit is, man, it was horrible, man. But
there
it all
was
paid off in the end
one or
because
two.
I worked for nothing. In 19 they changed the way it worked, and it became easier from that point. But that was the first time, bro. I didn't play at all, single game that particular year.
Yeah, one of the cool things is we might as well just you think we talked about it last week a little bit, but so next Thursday night the game releases at midnight, the 15th into the 16th. We are going to go live at 7, and we're going to go live straight through until midnight. So we're staying up 3 hours past Bob's bedtime.
Well, you guys have good luck with that, all right?
And
that's awesome.
And so we're gonna be up till midnight. We're gonna have bring a bunch of the Scout Scoop streamers out. We're gonna bring some MLB guys, MILB guys. We're just gonna have a bunch of people popping in and out all night. Bob's gonna change outfits throughout the night. We'll see what he starts with and what he ends with.
Maybe go topless. Maybe sit in the hot tub. I don't know.
He's got the hot. There's a very good possibility. We've been actually doing a lot of research, and Bob has been leading this charge for us on the phenomenon known as hot tub streaming on Twitch.
Yes.
So with Bob doing all the research on that, he is going to introduce that to our stream next week. So very excited to see how that works out.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very excited. And we just lost any chance we've ever had of any sponsorship. But that's okay. And
or we just picked up a hot tub sponsorship, one of the two.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes. I'm going to get to Kenny Mack, who just joined us. I know some of you guys are seeing that, but I do want to talk about what I'm going to do with the game first. Normally, I don't like to inject what I think and my thoughts, because let's be honest, no one gives a crap. But
we do. We all do.
Here's what I do, and I've done this religiously for years, even going all the way back to Triple Play. I put the game in, I play Home Run Derby because I want to see the hitting physics of the ball right away. Not in any specifics. I just want to see ball bat physics. And while it doesn't change drastically with the show, it's something I'm going to do. And I'll be honest, I'm going to go look at rosters, and then after rosters, I'm going to jump into the Stadium Creator. And I'm just going to start toiling in the Stadium Creator. And it may be days before I either 1, sleep, 2, eat, or 3, leave the Stadium Creator. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it bothers me to jump in there because it's this vortex of addiction that it's going to cause. And yeah, we'll see. What about you, Kenny? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you guys. I can hear you guys fine. Can you hear me? Now.
We can. We just got you going about 3 or 4 times in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Still appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys getting me on. Getting me on here. What's doing that? What's doing that?
Well, no worries. We're going to want to have you back, brother, for sure, because there's a story I want to hear from you about streaming and jumping in. And I think it's going to be an awesome story because you have jumped in both feet, but we're getting triple feedback from you, and I don't want anybody to miss the story. So let's get that fixed, and hopefully we can have you back on Thursday or Monday, because I think yeah, I think people are going to genuinely be excited and interested to hear your story.
We also, when we get Kenny back on, we got to talk some PSU football because I know Kenny's a PSU fan.
yeah,
We are.
and Yankees fan, and Yankees fan.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk some PSU football
Is
as
it-
well. So
Is it still coming in double again, or where are we at?
Oh,
Is
I think we
No.
might be fixed.
You sound
fixed it.
great. You sound way better than Sky. I mean,
holy hell, it was that PSU
Everybody sounds
football
better
that
than
turned
Scott.
that turned the corner there.
I saw that Phillies hat and I got a little excited.
There you go. Hey, I'm from your neck of the woods, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's where we're from?
I'm from Scranton up there, Scranton. PA.
Okay, all right. Yeah, my
Yep.
my wife's from the Hazelton area, so
Oh yeah.
I know
Yep.
I know Scranton well.
Yep.
I'm glad
Yep.
this thing got fixed with the audio. I apologize, guys. You
no,
know,
you're good.
as you said, Bob, I jumped in head first without any life preservers or anything into this streaming world. So this is it's become, the past 2 weeks has become just kind of frantic and getting. I think I have streamed, and my wife is like, "What are you doing now?" I have recorded, not streamed, probably about 40 different videos, all a minute long, just to make sure I'm okay. My Jets logo kind of in the back, needed to see what was behind. So a lot of things have been going on, in the past couple of weeks when I got this started. So
That's awesome.
again, I appreciate you guys getting me in here.
No, absolutely.
You know,
Great stuff. Go ahead.
Kenny, before you came on, we actually were talking about Sam Darnold. What's your thoughts on that? How you feeling?
I feel bad for Sam. I think he's been a rookie for 3 years. He was put in the position where he was supposed to be the new face of the franchise. But, there's a saying, I'm going to give you the keys to my car, just drive. He was given keys to a bicycle and was expected to take that bicycle and strap on an 18-wheeler and move it, or an RV. He was never given any tools to kind of work with, the one great receiver that he had. I can't call him great, but I loved Robbie Anderson. He took a top off a defense like no one the Jets had seen in years, since like Lavernius Coles. And, when they shipped him, I can't say shipped him off, but when he decided not to resign, I was kind of bummed. But, Sam was put in a position where I don't think he was ever going to succeed. Bob, my feelings on Gase, and I think a lot of people had
Right.
that same feeling. He was put in a no-win situation, and I feel bad for the kid, but he's going to go down and play with McCaffrey, get reunited with Robbie Anderson. He's got some weapons that he could really do some things. And for Sam, he gutted my Penn State Nittany Lions in a Rose Bowl a few years. So I knew what he could do. It was just a matter of, was it actually going to happen? And I have a feeling he's going to show the Panthers, if he gets the starting job, because we play them this year. I forget what week, but there could be a serious situation where he's coming to wreck our world in all shapes and forms. So it should be fun.
So, as a Jets fan, talk to us about this. Obviously, you guys now have a vacancy at the quarterback position, to some degree, and so you've acquired some picks, and you had picks to go. So, where did the Jets organization, the front office, what path are they taking? Who is going to play quarterback for the New York Jets starting this fall?
That's I was a Sam fan, again, because of just my ties with Nittany Lions and what he did, because I knew he had the tools. I knew he could be great. We are kind of in that same situation where we were a few years ago when they drafted Christian Hackenberg out of Penn State, where they drafted Chad Pennington. We have not had a quarterback since, I'll say, Vinny Testaverde, but we didn't draft him. So
Right.
For the Jets, they have not had a really good quarterback since, I'll go back to Richard Todd, Ken O'Brien. In what was that, the 85 draft, when they had an opportunity. So right now, there's a lot of talk on Wilson, there's Fields, it all, I think what happens with the Jets goes back to what the Jags do. If the Jags go Lawrence, then, you're a Jet, you got the second pick. Unless you're going backwards, you have to pick a quarterback, and you just shipped off your franchise. So you have to do something. I'm a Wilson fan. I liked what he did, but he only did it for 1 year. That scares me. He's got some injuries, stuff going on, and all the talk about Fields. I'm torn. As a Jet fan, I just want to see them do well. It does not matter who is riding this ship or who's the captain. I just want to be able to say, you know what, the Jets are actually in contention and can make the playoffs and make a nice little run. I don't care anything else. But the Jets have
Would it matter if Russell Wilson was leading the ship?
And that's the thing, to get Russell Wilson, and I was like, ooh, that's great. But what do you give up for him? The Jets have so many holes to fill that you can't just rely on one guy to right this wrong. It takes a lot of guys. And right now, Douglas is doing his thing, acquiring picks. He's got 21 picks in the next 2 years. That's unheard of for the Jets.
Right,
we don't do that, so it should be really interesting. If he does what everyone said he's going to do, I say by next year, we could be in a real position, to make some noise. But in the NFL, it's what are you doing for me lately? So, if we go 1-something again, they're going to be calling for Douglas's head and he's going to be, shipped off. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Let's shift gears. I know you're a big Yankees fan, die hard. I heard
you guys talking.
Yeah. I want to get your input. Now, I watch the Yankees often. I'm a diehard Cubs fan, but there's really no other team. After the Cubs, I bounce around and just watch good baseball. But for some reason, over the last 3 or 4 years, I've really migrated to watching the Yankees. If the Cubs aren't playing, I'm watching the Yankees. And because I enjoy that organization to a degree. I don't care what they've got. I don't care about the championships. None of that means anything. I just enjoy the players that are there right now, and I enjoy, I guess, the organization as a whole. But I want to hear from you. Right now, you're 1-2. I think did Judge go yard? Is it 1-0 right now? Is that what it is?
I think it is. I was trying to watch, but I had this thing going on, so I wasn't really sure.
So, right, you've only seen them really 3 games, 3.5 games. Whatever the case may be, things that are surprising to you, things that are concerns, things that are happy. What do you see as a die-hard, knowledgeable Yankees fan right now?
Die-hard, just watching them struggle to the point where they're not even close. Judge, I watched him, his at-bats yesterday. He wasn't even close to the ball a few times. The person where everyone was calling for him to be replaced, Sanchez is the only one really doing anything. Stanton still can't hit anything. So, for me, I just want to see where pitching is. The two guys, or not the two guys, but, their pitching staff, I want to see what they're doing. Both, they had great starting pitching the last 3 games, but the bats weren't there. So I feel like as a Yankee fan, the bats will come. It's just a matter of time. The pitching has been the Achilles heel for the Yankees the past few years. When you're going up against the teams like, Anaheim, the teams in their division, albeit not Baltimore because they actually won a couple games, but, Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto, those guys can hit. And if you don't have pitching in the AL East, when it gets cold, you're going to be in trouble. So, that's all I want to see right now. Players stayed healthy. It's 162 games. Be healthy, pitching gets where it needs to be. I think the bats will come eventually.
Good enough. Early on, none of it we talked about before you jumped on the show. It's fun to get excited or upset about the first couple games you see, but let's be real. It's the first couple games. And you just don't know over the long haul how these teams are going to perform, who's going to stay healthy. So, but now let's go ahead and shift gears one more time. And this time I want to shift to MLB The Show 20. We had talked about what we love to do, what we're excited to partake in when we first get the game. Kenny, I know you're a big fan of MLB The Show, and for those worrying, we're going to get back to his streaming story, trust me. We just want to catch Kenny up. But I want to hear from you, sir. You get the game, it's the first night. What's the first thing you do? And then after that, which path do you take with MLB The Show 21?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm in your situation. I go in the home run derby, maybe not to see ball physics, but I just want, for me, as I get older, my hand-eye coordination isn't what it was, and I want to make sure timing is down. So I'm usually going up against the best arm, whether it be lefty or righty, and just seeing, starting from the dynamic, difficulty, just seeing if I can hit. I tooled around the past 2 years with the analog hitting. Typically I'm a kind of a directional button guy. I just want to see, and sometimes in the the years, it's getting a little bit harder to catch up with pitches. So I find myself tweaking things and sliders to see if I can hit consistently. And then from there, I'm kind of a roster guy. I want to go in and see equipment, shoes, bats. They got a lot of sponsorships this year. I saw Jordan's in it this year. So they've changed a lot of things. And, going to this next gen hardware and seeing that stuff come to fruition from when I was a kid playing on, Pele Soccer and the ColecoVision. This is unbelievable what these systems are putting out now. So
Right.
I like I said, Bob, I'm like you. I go to the home run derby, and then from that point, I'm going into rosters and seeing what's what.
Well, you make a great point about as we get older. Today, I sat with the tech beta, if you will, and I'm not a directional. I am a zone hitter, and I turn everything off, nothing. And I sat there today and just faced Flaherty on All-Star default, and I'm telling you, I may be in some trouble this year, boys. I may be because I went through about. For those who don't know, that it gives you 3 outs. It's sequence. It was practice, but I constantly got 1 out, 2 out, 3 outs, 1 out, 2 out, 3 outs. I was like, I am horrible. I am, and so
That's a good sign, though. I think it's better for the game to be hard than to be easy, because it's always easier to make it easier,
Yeah,
as opposed to tuning it down and make it harder, because that's when you start breaking stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I'm a big slider guy, so I even before I even jump into any type of competitive franchise or anything like that, I play a good 25, 30 games on some custom tuning, and I tweak it till I feel like it's about right, and then I'll start jumping into stuff that's more serious. I mean, you got to get that comfort zone, right? But also feel a little bit uneasy.
Right, I agree. And you're talking about that. You talk about playing 25, 30 games, tweaking sliders, all of this. And Kenny, you were talking about it also. I want to talk to you guys about, in seriousness, what was the last title? It doesn't have to be MLB The Show. What was the last baseball video game title in which you literally played all 162 games of a season, every out of that title? Kenny.
Wow. You're going to have to give me a minute. That's unbelievable. It was not the show. I as a purist of baseball and loving the sport, when it went to quick counts, I was a huge fan of that. Just trying to play 162 with that quick counts, you can get a game in quickly.
Right.
With my schedule, I get home at 6. I can get 2 games in before my wife is like, "What are you doing?" So that's a cute. Before that, it would. I don't even know. We're gonna have to go back to probably. What was the game on the PlayStation 1? I forget what it was. I know it wasn't the show. It was Sony.
3DO or
PlayStation 1.
PlayStation. There's some good baseball games.
Yeah,
on PlayStation.
Just MLB,
High
MLB
Heat?
98, or there was.
I
Was
think
High
it was
Heat
either
on
High
PS1?
Heat or either All-Star Baseball.
Mhm.
I forget which one it was, but it was quite some time ago that I played 162.
Okay.
It's been some years.
Chase, what about you, bud?
Last time I played 162 was MLB 19 with the fictional franchise I had going on.
Oh, nice. So just a couple years ago. Well,
Yeah.
Nice. So
You
All-Star
can't blame him.
Baseball-
He didn't play any games in 18. He was
Yeah.
hungry for him.
I was like, yeah.
Our boy was jonesing. Oh, so Scott, what about you?
I mean, it might be High Heat. I mean, I think it's been that long since I actually played all 162 in a season.
For Scott, it was Atari Baseball back in.
It might have
1970.
been Atari Baseball. It might have been. Stop it, Bob. Come on. There's a bunch of old guys on here, not just me. But no, I think honestly, it could have been All-Star Baseball, High Heat. It was somewhere in that area. I definitely think that it was one of those. But yeah, it is crazy to think that you got guys like us who are pretty much, I think all of us would say we're pretty much just franchise players, right? I mean, Kenny, you're probably a franchise player. Yeah. So, the fact that none of us have actually played 162 games is kind of crazy. Somebody in the chat just brought up World Series Baseball Dreamcast. Yeah, that was
Great title.
You guys remember
Good game.
VR baseball?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep,
PBR
absolutely.
baseball.
Didn't get a lot of love, but there was some solid baseball in that title.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I remember when that first came out, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great games if you go back, but it's just even now, like when you go back, and I know Bob, you do this, Kenny, you do it a lot too. I see you know, you on Twitter, you're always playing a lot of the older titles. You guys are playing still NCAA and some other games. When you go back and you revisit some of the older games, and obviously there's still a lot of love for those games because you grew up playing them, and you played them for years or months and months and months out of the cycle of the game. But when you stack them up to what we got now, it's like, man, we are spoiled.
Yeah,
we really are.
I mean, we really are. I mean,
Yeah.
going back a little bit to kind of some of the stuff we talked about last week, or there's just a lot of complaining in the community about different things and stuff, and it's like, come on, guys, like, I know we'd all love to have the perfect video game, but when you look at what we got right now, I mean, we're spoiled.
Yeah,
These
we really
games,
are.
these games are really, really good. I mean, if I was a kid and I had MLB 21 or even 20 or 19 or any of these games, I would literally probably never go to school and just stay in my room playing video games all day long.
Absolutely. I mean, I did that when I was younger. I don't know what I would do now.
I mean,
This is-
we did that with Tecmo Bowl, right? I mean, it was
Oh,
Tecmo Bowl
the
and
original Tecmo, yeah.
yeah. I mean, those games. I mean, for hours and hours and hours, you would just play. And now, you look at these games, and obviously, growing up, I was a big sports fan, but overall, I've always been a bigger baseball fan than probably any other sport. And if I had MLB The Show 20, and I was a kid, like I said, a college kid, a high school kid, and I don't think I'd ever go out of my house. I mean, I'm sorry that sounds stupid, but
Scott, we don't go out of our house right now anyway.
And the world wins. Yay.
yes, yeah. But I mean, it's just true. I mean, those games, back then when we were growing up, would be, I mean, you guys remember what was it? It wasn't Ken Griffey Jr. There was Ken Griffey Baseball, but there was the other one. Oh, Baseball Stars. Do you remember Editable Baseball
Oh,
Stars?
absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Tell me that wasn't a classic, I mean,
it's one of the great games.
I remember me and my one buddy, we just would take that game and we would just edit the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You could just edit all the players and the stances, and we would do that for hours and hours and hours, and we just would create all these teams, and just we had so much fun with that. But yeah, it's crazy, but we're definitely spoiled, guys.
We are, but you talked about High Heat, and that was the last game. It was High Heat 2003. And believe it or not, I used. Okay, Scott.
He doesn't care. Bob, he doesn't care. He doesn't want to hear it.
Hey, jerk. You better not come back. But no, Scott brought it up, and he brought up a good point. And I wanted to refer back to High Heat 2003 because I thought that was a series that included, it lent so well to a quick game, which Kenny talked about, but you still, the stats and the results of each game were reminiscent of what you would see in real baseball. And so that was the last one that I played truly every out, every pitch, 162. I do it now with the show, but sometimes, I'll fast forward half an inning, or I won't pitch here or there or something. I'll just hit throughout the game. So, yeah. Yeah, so good stuff. But we talked about it earlier, and Kenny, I want to get back to you. Here's what I want to do. I want to talk to you about your.
Is Bob's story done now?
Oh dear God! I thought we blocked.
Bob
that.
done? I just went off while you were talking, Bob. I didn't want to hear.
No. Hey, jump off. Do you want to vacuum or maybe do some windows too?
I had to actually call. My daughter called real quick about something. So sorry about that, guys. But Bob, I'm sorry I missed your story. I'll have to.
No,
rewind it.
There's no story.
It's all right. It's all right, Scott. He completely skipped over me, so don't feel bad.
Wait,
Chris,
did you,
Chris, honestly, Bob, you've been taught. I think you owe Chris an apology for what's been going on here. There's been a lot of abuse that Chris has taken since the start of the Tonight Show, between all the hate on the White Sox, which I mean,
you just got to give Tony some beers and get this team in shape, man. I mean,
hold on.
They're denying him probably.
Hold on. See, what you folks at home don't see is what happens on camera and during our group chats during the week. And if I showed you that, you would be appalled. And
Bob,
you would ask.
You don't want me and Chris to start showing stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to Christopher.
Quickly changes topic.
Did you lock that share screen feature?
right, so let's move on.
Lock that share screen feature right now, Bob.
Also, Scott, I want to thank you for making me have to click the Not for Children episode for our YouTube. Yeah, thank you for that too. Yeah. Give Bob more work. But Christopher, I didn't mean to pass
Yes.
over. Here's what
It's
happened.
all right, man.
You had talked about being a slider guy and tweaking and that stuff. And so I was like, no, we did ask Chris, but you actually never said. So go ahead. I'm somewhat interested in what you have to say.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Okay.
No,
I had some
no,
errors
no,
just
I
flash
can't
across
hear
my
you.
screen.
That's a great story. This is why I don't go to him. All right.
No, it would have been MVP 05, but in 2006 because I actually played that game for 2 years because I updated all the rosters for the.
That was a great
I refused.
game.
I refused to move on from MVP 05, which honestly, like Scott was saying, as great as that game is, has anybody actually? When's the last time you guys played that game? Because
3 weeks ago.
I was playing.
I would.
I wasn't playing that game, but I was playing the NCAA version of 06
Okay.
about 2 days ago because I still love that game.
Still a great game.
College baseball. That was a great game.
Still
07,
was
but 06 was great.
I was gonna say it's a little rougher than I think. At least
it's
I
rough.
remember it.
Do you mean
It's a rough
even for the
game.
show.
in terms of gameplay or visually?
A little bit of both. It's
bit of
very
both.
simplistic compared to what you get in the show. I feel like the outcomes are much more, like tiered out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say you're right. I'm a franchise and dynasty guy. So you alluded to NCAA 14. I'm on season like 20 something. NCAA baseball 06. I think I'm on season 6. So every once in a while I'll go back and play a game just to. That's what I won't say grow up. I'm in my 40s now, but those were games that I spent hours upon hours, probably ruined relationships and some friendships by playing. So
Well, you know what? If they can't appreciate your love for that game, then that's fine.
that's what I say.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
But if they make a college game now,
Yeah.
like I've been, redoing, I use Bacon's rosters and, a fictional thing, and I put all NCAA teams, and I will do that this year. I am a college guy first and foremost, and I will do the same thing this year with the show 21. So
Plus,
I'm
yeah,
excited for
now you
that.
have the stadiums. You're going to be able to do all the college stadiums. It's going to be epic.
Bob, I heard you say you may not play a game for a while. I don't know when I will get to a game with this college.
Right.
Creating 30 stadiums
Yeah.
and 30 different, uniform sets, 2 uniform. That's going to be a lot of time that I'm going to spend without even playing that game. And it's going to be so worth it once it happens.
And that you bring up a great point. Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's what I mean. There's going to be so many people that take that path of creating their own universe. It's like, when do you actually get to the game? And dear God, Chris, you said it was MVP 05. I'll tell you this, though. You talked about it looking rather dated on the graphical side, and it does to a degree. But when you play on an emulator such as Kenny and myself do, boy, you can pump that up to 4K, and it does handle, and it's very fluid, and it looks a lot better. But I do see your point. So
I just think that a lot of that game is a nostalgia factor because it offered so much that we haven't really seen in anything
That's a good
else
point.
up to this point.
Yeah.
So like I'm curious to see, down the road if the show, however much they do expand upon all that, the hot dog prices and I remember just spending hours doing all that stuff. And if you ever tried to make it realistic, your franchise completely fell flat. So I was like, this game is
well,
Me
it
and-
never
me
made
and
any
Bo-
sense.
Me and Bob were very disappointed that you could actually set the hot dog prices, but you actually didn't get the hot dogs.
Yeah, I kept
Yeah.
standing like this. Shut up!
I mean-
I don't. Never mind. Let's move on. Let's just.
No. Hit that button, Bob, right now. Hit the button right now. Hit the button right now.
Set back. And Chris, it was probably really hard as well. No. Listen, hey, you
This
know what?
episode- Can we delete this whole
well,
episode?
yes, let's just do. But here's what I want
This
to
is my
do.
first episode, bro.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting this forever.
Oh,
I just
Kenny,
kept it like this. Yeah, that's great, Bob.
me and Chris have something to send you offline, Kenny. When we get offline later, we get something to send you.
Now
Send
here's
you
what
my
here's what I want to do. We only got a little bit of time, but Kenny, I want to hear your story. And then after we're done hearing Kenny's story, a little bit more in depth, I want to go around. Obviously, there's a big game going on tonight. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but the national championship.
Yeah, the White Sox are playing the Mariners.
I want to hear who's going to win, but
That's my big game.
is that your? I kind of assume
That's
that.
my big game. Oh,
But-
Scott left again.
Oh my god! So Kenny, you talked about it and you hit on it a little bit about just jumping headfirst into streaming. Okay, there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this show that may have the same concerns, may have the same worries, but they want to do it, but they're nervous. There's apprehension there. Can you take us from A to Z about how you started, how long it took, where you're at now, and maybe where you're hoping to go?
So when I was a kid, again in my early 40s, and the big wrestling men, Hulk Hogan's and Andre the Giants that were out there, I remember hitting tape or hitting record on a tape player and wrestling by myself. I do have a twin sister, but she's not playing with me. And I literally would sit there and wrestle with these guys and go back before I went to sleep and listening to myself kind of replay me playing earlier. Like, that's how lame I did that with electric football. So this whole streaming thing, it took me a very long time. And my brother-in-law, who started a podcast about a year or so ago, he's huge into the hunting and things like that. I don't want to plug his thing. I'm not here for that. I will if someone asks me. But listening to him talk about this podcast and the A to Z that he went was like, wow, this is kind of intriguing. And I found myself watching a lot of streams, on guys that were essentially doing what I kind of set out to do. And one day my wife was like, you have a better voice than that guy. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of do. I like where you're going with
And
that.
she shouldn't be hating on Nutsy like that.
Yeah, it's easy to. So go ahead.
So I thought about it. I was like, I could do this. I play video games. My friends and I, we have a game night. We're all in our 40s except for one guy. We have game night on Tuesday nights where we play just a bunch of different games. And, I would stream them just from the standpoint of just watching it, later on. Call of Duty, Madden, what have you. Wreckfest is our game right now on Xbox One. But, I started thinking about, let me put a face to this video and see how this works out. So I reached out to a couple guys on Twitter, OS, obviously you, Bob, Mills from OS, and just kind of get some feedback. And I thought, this could be something that I want to do, and not thinking, at no point in time was I thinking of the monetary part of it. I just wanted to do something that was fun, looked like it was pretty cool. My brother-in-law, again, he was in a podcast. He's a baseball coach, and he said all his kids do between practices and whatever, they sit there and watch Twitch and YouTube on guys playing video games. I'm like, that sounds awesome. I could do that.
Yeah.
So so I told my wife, I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do, and she said, okay, go ahead and do it. So this is where I'm at, and I bought a few things, Elgato stuff. For capture cards, obviously the PC that I just purchased that I have not told her about. Just
we'll delete that.
She'll be fine. But just some things to get myself started, and the process has been a little taxing. Like I said earlier, I have about 40 recordings that are like a minute long just to make sure things are okay. Obviously, I had some issues here, just getting on, so, the sound wasn't right, didn't sound right. I could hear a little bit of an echo, it wasn't streaming, my TV, blacked out in certain times. So there's a lot of things, that technical side, that are going on with it that are being ironed out, and hopefully by the end of this week I'll be okay. With my job, I get home at around 6:30. I do want to work out because I sit and play video games all night, so I try to stay active. About to be 46, so I don't have a lot of time to do that, but my wife understands that this is what I want to do. That dog is unbelievably gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, he's good. Sorry, guys. That's
No,
Doug.
you're fine.
Doug just made another
Doug
appearance
makes
on
an
the show.
appearance every other show.
If I didn't
Every
have
once in a while, he's got to
my-
pop his head in.
Yeah, he pops
I
up every once in a while. He gets jealous when I'm not paying attention to him for a while. So
that's perfectly fine. I have 3 dogs, 3 labs, and that will be down here in a minute if I had that door open, and they would tear this place apart. So I get it.
So,
But no, so
yeah, go ahead, please.
no, I was just saying, the process, from A to Z. I think I'm maybe at O or P, somewhere around there, just ready to finally pull the trigger. But it's been I like the process. I'm one of those people. I like a project that to go from start to finish, to see it to come to fruition. And in this streaming world that we're in, I want to be a part of it, and see where it takes me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's awesome. Go ahead, Scott. Since
No,
you're back with us.
I figured since Kenny was talking, I would come back on because you were done talking. So no. But no, Kenny, I think it's great because I've actually, known you from years from OS and, follow you on Twitter. And, it's just really cool to see, guys a little bit older like us and Bob, obviously he's older than all of us. But it's nice to see guys like us get into the, the whole streaming and the whole, content creating thing a little bit, a little bit later than I think, a lot of people got into it. And I think you're talking with a few guys here that are pretty much in the same boat. We've kind of all done a little bit over the years. We are all doing some streaming. Now I've streamed on and off, doing a few things for a few years, and Chris and Chase have done the same, I believe. But yeah, it's really, really cool to see, and we look forward to seeing what you can do, man.
Totally appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah, for sure.
Kenny, once you get everything up and running, and you have your kind of your thing that you're doing, let us know, dude. We'll get the name out there and shoot you out live. And we'd love to have you back on, a little bit further down the line, just talk to you about where you started, where you're at now, because it's a process, and you've talked about that. Yeah. So
I do have a question for Kenny on because we talked about obviously some baseball video gaming and stuff like that, and he's a franchise player. What was your perception, or what was your impression of the MLB The Show franchise presentation last week, the featurette they had?
So before that, I heard, being on social media sometimes nowadays is the worst thing to do when you're trying to find information, but it's also the best thing to do. You just got to find the middle, So, I heard that, there was some neglect. I heard, they didn't do this. And, I was like, okay. I personally last year, I thought, in the past couple years, that the franchise mode was adequate for my needs. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. I don't need a lot of. Baseball is a complex sport, and this complexity makes it great for those diehard people. And for me, I was okay with it. Now I hear some rumblings that they didn't really touch it. They didn't do this, but I watched that video that was about 13 minutes. I forget what the gentleman's name is that posted it. On YouTube, and I made some comments.
MDAV Frisk.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That 11-minute video that he made, it was a lot of information that isn't going to be on backs of box. Is that that quote that we use? But it was a lot of under the hood stuff that I think will improve the franchise first and foremost now. But going forward, I think they're going to be in a good position, and Sony and what they've been doing with their product. I feel like they're very transparent in what they do, and I think they're going to be in the right, in the right boat. And the future of the franchise, where they go from here is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before on a few shows, but I think you almost have to go into a next gen system. You had to expect that there would be, minimal changes. I do think we are all very lucky we got Stadium Creator. I think that's awesome. And that's obviously going to be a huge addition for, especially franchise players. But I think that, you have to kind of take a step aside from where you were and say, okay, well, this is going to be the new starting point, and then this is what we're going to build on going forward with the next gen systems, So I think it's, kind of naive to think that there wasn't going to be anything. I know a lot of people are upset about the carryover saves. We've talked about that before, but I had a feeling. I had a feeling a couple of years ago when when we were talking about PS5 at some point coming out, that feature might not work. It's different hardware. So, even though you can still play PS4 games on a PS5, they're different. They're different. It's different architecture,
Right.
So you have to just understand that, it's probably going to come back hopefully at some point. So, but I mean, we're getting a fresh new game with a fresh new coat of paint, and it should be exciting. I mean, and like Bob talked about earlier, this is the last weekend coming up that we will not have MLB The Show for the rest of the year. So
Pretty
it's going to
exciting.
be fun.
Yeah, no, it will be absolutely, and I'm not as anxious, and the people who played the tech beta aren't as anxious because you kind of got a glimpse into it, anyways. But still, bring it on. But before we go, we talked about national title. I need to find out who wins and what's the score. Chase.
Well, I got funny story, man. I was a basketball player in high school, and I almost went to Gonzaga out of high school. So I'm gonna go with the Zags. I'm gonna say it's a close game, man. It's probably gonna be like a 68-64 type game, with Gonzaga pulling it off.
All right. Chris, I know you don't. I don't want to miss you. I know you don't. Can you just say a team's name?
I go Baylor only because I actually bet on them. So
Oh, okay.
we're see what happens. I don't know. I
That's a
honestly
good
I know this is I could honestly care less. I mean I've never been into the whole college hoops thing. I've always been a pro sports guy. So I also went to like really small colleges too. So like the
Yeah.
allure of that whole thing, the camaraderie, never really appealed to me or applied to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think my college football team won a single game in like 2 years. So
Wow,
I mean, it's
okay.
like I wasn't gonna waste time with that. So
Yeah. So now, before I get to the rest, I agree to a certain point. I love college basketball, but when my Irish suck, it lessens the enjoyment of the season. By the way, if anyone from Notre Dame is listening, I don't mean suck. It's just when they're not as talented or have.
You had it right. You had it right.
Oh, okay. It makes it a little bit harder, and so, all right. I'm going to go last. Kenny, want to hear your thoughts?
I don't know. I think Gonzaga, as much as I loved that game the other night,
Mm-hmm.
and watching Baylor just roll over Houston, it's going to be a really good game. I think Gonzaga is going to end up undefeated and win the whole thing. I think it's going to be high scoring, though. I think they're going to go back and forth. I'd probably say like 90, to 80 something. Gonzaga is just that good.
Yeah.
I don't know if Baylor has been that good too, but Gonzaga just the way they won that game the other night. This is their year. Just let them do their thing. What's the coach's name? I forget his name, but he hasn't.
Few.
Yeah.
Mark Few.
Mark, yeah.
I was a huge Morrison, whatever. What was his name? Years ago.
Oh,
That kid.
Adam Morrison.
Yeah,
Yes,
Adam. Yeah, Adam
Adam.
Morrison. Yep, that's
I
right.
was a huge fan of his. The socks that look like that he really shouldn't be playing basketball. It was just absolutely just demolishing folks, and I have a feeling Gonzaga's going to pull it off. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Scotty, what about you?
I have to agree with these guys with Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga is going to end up winning it. I just think that it just seems like it's their year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But either way, it should be a lot of fun. Like we talked about on one of the shows earlier on about how it's just nice to see it back this year after everything that happened last year, and
Yeah.
just the return to normalcy. So I mean, we'll take it. Whoever wins, may the best team win. But just hopefully we just get a good game. That's all we could ask for.
So,
Yeah, well,
if you ask me, I mean, Kenny, much like you, I've watched Gonzaga play from early on in the season, and I've watched them, and I really, really enjoy them. I do think the game the other night drains them. I do think it's going to be high scoring, and in the end, I think Baylor is going to have the fresher legs, and I think they win by 4 to 5 points. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. And since, but maybe, and this could be wrong also, but I think maybe the Irish sneak in there somehow and win their first NCAA basketball. I don't know how that would work. I don't know the logistics of it all, but so anyways, but yeah, that's why I'm going Baylor for 4 or 5 points. I like that fresh legs. Scotty, tell me what's going on for the show next week.
So we got a lot going on.
next week or later in the week.
Well, we've obviously got the show coming up
And
Thursday.
Thursday, I guess. You know, that's,
Bob's
talk
gonna
about
take the
that.
next few days off, but we've got the show coming up Thursday at 7 as usual, which should be another great show. But next Thursday for the release of the game, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of people coming on and off. That's gonna be a very interesting night. We've got some surprises planned. We'll have more to come on that probably in the next few days. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and I mean, you would think that we'll have a lot of excited people. What we should do is maybe what we can work out now is we'll bring a lot of the streamers on and some of the people in the community that want to come on and talk about their what game that they last played 162 games on. So I know we talked about it tonight, so that'll be something fun to do next week during the the long stream.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting to hear some of the stories out there, some of the people in the MLB The Show community and some of the content creators out there, just to hear, their stories on what game they played for 162 games last, So, yeah, so I'm excited, man. We've got, like I said, a little over a week before the game comes out, and should be a fun few weeks.
Yep, I would agree. So,
And real quick, Kenny, I think Stanton heard you. I don't know if you saw what he just did, but he just hit a grand slam.
Between him and Judge, I think they heard me. I should talk about them more
Yeah.
often. Stanton homered
471 feet, 115 miles an hour.
wow.
I mean, when he's on, he's on. But Bob, I heard your comment about the last night's that shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
I hate to harp it because I know we want to end, but that kid is he's a freak. I love that. I really wish he was on the Yankees, but that would just be cruel to everybody in baseball if he was.
And you know what's so awesome about Ohtani is when you look at him, there is genuine joy on his face. He loves playing the sport, and he loves beating the White Sox. It's just amazing. It's so much fun. Yeah, so
Nice dig. I like it.
But I agree. That was just
That's why defending AL MVP Jose Abreu tried to take him out sneakily last night.
sneaking
Defend his title.
But I've been around the game of baseball for 25 years, and when you hear a shot like that, it makes you do it, and it did. I mean, I almost stood up in my chair, which, if any of you guys know me, I don't stand up very often. So yeah, but I almost did. So it's just a great shot. But anyways, we obviously want to thank everybody for stopping by and listening to us live here on Twitch, and those who are going to listen on the podcast or whether it be on YouTube. We appreciate everybody, and we say this every week, and it probably gets monotonous and mundane, but it's true. We just appreciate everybody as part of this community, and with that, we're going to be back Thursday with a new trailer, right?
Yeah. There's should be the next gen reveal on Thursday. So we are, we'll come back Thursday. We'll have a lot to talk about with that, and we'll have some other surprises too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And Kenny, we'd love to have you back on.
Love to have you back.
Whenever.
Yeah.
And next week, if you're available the night of the show, feel free to pop on with us and hang out with us for a while. And should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
like-
I'm sorry I missed the first half hour though, but I appreciate you guys letting me come on.
Things happen, man. You're good.
Well, I bet you there's going to be a lot of sick days next Friday and a lot of vacations the following week, right?
Yes.
So we'll have to
use them wisely.
Yep, exactly. So we're going to find out. And remember, anybody out there who needs a note for work or school, Chris Ouija on Twitter.
Yep.
Got you guys covered.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, with that, we will talk to everybody on Thursday, and everyone here and everybody out there, have a wonderful evening.